The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taormina.
Welcome to OAA Now. Here I'm Sammy Taormina, blogger of Around the OAA, host of Blast Me Brain Cells, and host of Between Terminus and Orion Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome those hearing us on the local voice on SoundCloud, also watching on Facebook Live, and also on Orion Neighborhood Television. Ian, it's been a weird 2021.
I think that's an understatement, Sam.
Yeah, it's been a really weird one.
It's been weird because we were still finishing football.
Yeah, in 2021.
2021. Trying to do this is the last episode of 2021.
Well, we're going to 2022.
Moving into 22.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back, it's like, boy, we had a lot of everything.
Yeah.
A lot of uncertainty. I remember there's some episodes we'd sit here, Sammy, you're going, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what's going on.
It's been going on.
Are we going to have any games? Are we going to do this or that? Is football going to be done by May?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, like, obviously, we've got basketball to talk about, obviously. We got a lot to look at. I mean,
wrestling?
Yeah, wrestling.
Some amazing thing happened.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously.
Oakland County meet.
Sure.
Chat about that.
Yeah, I mean, like, Oxford winning that in the Oakland County Wrestling Championship. I mean, like, we'll see what happens going forward. I mean, Oxford winning that, we'll talk about that.
Yep.
We got the roundup here.
Yeah, the roundup. A lot of games again.
Yep.
And Sammy and I were talking about retooling some of the look of, if you guys are watching us, you're watching the video, you're watching on ONTV, you're watching on YouTube, or you're watching VOD, or wherever you watch us or listen. We're going to retool the look of the TV side of things. We're going to get a nice little sports ticker up and running.
Oh, yeah. Look forward to that.
After reading 4 pages of results and almost losing my voice last week, we're going to tweak this thing. We're going to zip it up. It's been, how many years we've been looking this way?
Probably
2 years,
yeah.
3 years?
2 years.
We're going to spruce up the look of the show. So, all right. So here is everybody's favorite part of their week is the roundup, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. All right. It is Monday, December 20th. A new week and a new set of results from the previous week of OAA basketball. A lot of action going on out and about on the hard court around Oakland County. And Sammy, you dig and you get all of this information put together. And
it's not easy, I'll tell you that right now.
Trying to find results of games is so tough because the newspaper situation nowadays, hard to find them results, hard to find them box scores, right? So anyway, here we are. Let's start with the girls. As always, what happened last week? Starting on December 13th, Madison Heights Lamphere 64-18 over Ferndale. Big win there by Lamphere.
Ferndale has been
still
really
trying to find that offense.
Trying to find, let's not forget, last year they didn't have a season.
They didn't run a
this
team,
is a new coach in Alcatala, you know what I mean? Just really, trying to build on it.
And we were concerned about some teams that didn't field a squad last year. What are they going to look like and feel like this year? And you can see it's limping along. But, hey, all the best to Ferndale as they move forward, right? December 14th, Lake Orion 36-26 over Groves. Maddie Ebert had 11 points for Lake Orion. Good win for the Dragons. Oxford 49-26 over Lapeer. Their first time in action since the tragedy that happened not so long ago. Allison Huffsteller had 11 points. Miranda Wynemko had 10 points for Oxford. Macomb Lance Cruz North 54-35 over Stony Creek.
That was a shocker.
Stony Creek looking for some offense and some defense, it looks like. Brooke Daniels had 22 points. Olivia Chadwick had 15 points. Michaela Downs, 10 points for Lance Cruz North. Bloomfield Hills Cranbrook Kingswood 43-32 over Avondale. Troy 68-36 over Bloomfield Hills. Big win for Troy. Kendall Zeiter, again, what doesn't she do, right?
Well, I think there's more problems with Troy than there is more positive.
You think so?
I'll let you know about that in a minute.
Even after a big 32-point win.
Mm-hmm.
Kendall Zeiter, 20 points. Charlotte Sabaka, 12 points for Troy. Troy Athens, 45-41 over Farmington. Becca Delia, 12 points for Troy Athens. Autumn Barnett, 23 points. And Bree Burns, 10 points for Farmington.
Mm-hmm.
Grosse Pointe North, 43-29 over Berkeley. Berkeley's still trying to find that offense. Ashley Loon had 12 points to lead the Bears. Oak Park, 23-19 over Detroit. Science and math. That is another low-scoring output, but a W for Oak Park.
First win for Coach Chantel Corson. I mean, first win for them. I mean, better than that 7-point disaster against Ypsilanti.
Yeah. Getting the W, I guess. No matter how you get it, it's good to get that W.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit Mumford, 70-12 over Ferndale. Still trying to find something to click on that squad.
Mm-hmm.
Southfield Arts and Tech, 63-32 over Ecorse. Good win for A&T.
I want to chat A&T after the roundup.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Austin had 23 points for A&T. On December 15th, Rochester 50-20 over Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
Ferndale University 71-8 over Dearborn Riverview West. Yikes.
They got to play him again, too, in a couple weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
What, in a classic?
No.
That's
regular
part of
season
their
game.
Wow. Harper Woods 58-24 for Detroit Cody. On December 16th, Detroit Farmington North Farmington, 54-39 over Walled Lake Northern. Stella Leffler at 20 points. Penelope Prairie had 19 points for North Farmington. River Rouge 56-20 over Oak Park. Southfield Arts and Tech 63-7 over Warren Michigan Collegiate. Kristen Banks had 14 points for A&T.
Mm-hmm.
December 17th, Lake Orion 39-20 over Royal Oak. Kylie Heck had 14 points for Lake Orion.
That was a good win for them.
Clarkston 59-45 over Oxford. Maddie Skrapowski had 25 points. Izzy Hadley had 10 points for Clarkston. Stony Creek 43-35 over Rochester. Stony bounces back. Sydney LaPrairie had 16 points. Melania Skorik had 14 points for Stony Creek. Alice Mack had 14 points for Rochester. Troy Athens 39-37 over Troy in a squeaker. Jillian Siak had 14 points for Athens. Kendall Zeiter and Charlotte Spaka had 15 points each for Troy. North Farmington 43-23 over Farmington. That's a...
Well, and I think, North Farmington being up in the white, you know what I mean? Farmington, I know last season Farmington did upset North Farmington last year.
I thought that'd be a little tighter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Stella Leffler, 20 points. Penelope Creary, again, the big two over there.
Yep.
14 points for North Farmington. Adams, 40-26 over Kingston. On December 18th, West Bloomfield, 61-24 over Bishop Null. Summer Davis, 22 points. India Davis, 18 points for West Bloomfield. December 19th, Groves, 48-41 over Seaholm.
That was at Little Caesars Arena.
Yes, that's what you have here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool that they're opening up the venue for the high school game.
Yeah, but I didn't understand why they played it after the Pistons game.
Afterwards.
They played it afterwards.
Maybe they had I don't know.
It was a 6 o'clock game, you know what I mean? And then they played it at 8:45 approx.
Yeesh.
So they got done about 10
It's
o'clock.
still a good experience for them.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the guys. December 14th, Farmington 82-27. Detroit Henry Ford. Big win for Farmington. Southfield Arts and Tech 45-30 over Troy.
That was an upset.
It was a tight one, too. A 15-point win for A&T. Oak Park 64-61 over Detroit Western.
Mm-hmm.
Berkeley 56-33 over Avondale.
Mm-hmm.
Tamir Rukinvich had 21 points. Sharif and Morris had 10 points each for Berkeley. Stony Creek 50-34 over Seaholm. John Chinois had 11 points for Birmingham Seaholm. Adams 67-41 over Groves. Gunnar Walters 21 points for Rochester Adams. Rochester 53-39 over Lake Orion. What happened there? Matt Stone 18 points for Rochester. Alden Ritt 19 for Lake Orion. They better find an offense or they're going to be in trouble, the Dragons.
Well, they got secondary scoring. Big concern for them.
Absolutely. Warren, Michigan Collegiate 61 28 over Athens. Bloomfield Hills 73-40 over Livonia Stevenson. Noah Abramczyk 27 points for BH. Oxford 50-43 over Romeo, and a nice win for the Wildcats. Bryce Essman 18 points. Alec Brown 12 points for Oxford. Is that on the road or home?
That's
on the road,
on the
right?
road, yeah.
Yeah, because they haven't played home yet.
Right.
So good win on the road for the Wildcats. St. Clair Shores Lakeview 56-55 over Royal Oak. Huskies getting it done.
Over the Ravens.
All right, moving on. Page 3.
Yep.
December 15th, Ferndale University 74-16 over Detroit Riverview West. Ouch.
And they still got to play him again.
Play him again, Detroit. Or, excuse me.
Poor Dearborn Riverview West.
No kidding. December 16th, Plymouth 72-62 over Berkeley.
That was a good game.
Sharif, 21 points. Rukenvich, 20 points. Morris, 16 points for Berkeley. Nice three-man action there for the scoring there for the Bears.
You got to like what Joe Sermo has this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they're one of the teams to watch in the blue this year.
3 double-digit scores regularly. That's not a bad problem now.
No, it's not.
Jace Petrie, 25 points. And Amanko, 14 points for Plymouth. Avondale, 42-35 over Seaholm. John Shinosis, 12 points for BS. Orchard Lake St. Mary, 61-52 over Clarkston. Nate Steeman, 24 points. Keegan Wasilk, 21 points, 10 rebounds for Clarkston. Karem Rozier, 24 points for Orchard Lake St. Mary. Surprise on that?
They didn't have Desmond Stebbins who got hurt in that game.
Okay. December 17th, Ferndale, 66-59 over Detroit University, Detroit Jesuit combined. Let's see. Adams, 63-40 over Southfield Arts and Tech. Mims had 22. Walters, 12. Barbie had 11 points for Rochester Adams. Summit Academy had 67-57 over West Bloomfield.
Summit Academy's better than you think.
Obviously, they took down the Lakers. Yes. Troy Athens, 44-36 over Lake Orion. Jonah Batardo had 16 points for Troy Athens. Alden Ritt, 17 points for Lake Orion. They need to find some offense.
Secondary scoring. That's it. Secondary scoring.
Troy, 53-45 over Macomb, Dakota. Whiteside had 15. Fairless had 13 points. Zach Pinoza, 11 points for Troy. Bloomfield Hills, 54-45 over Traverse City West. Noah Abramczyk, 23 points for BH. Rochester, 57-48 over Stony Creek, those crosstown rivals. Matt Stone, 26. Peyton Rumler had 10 for Rochester. Avant Terrace had 21 points, and Leo Kent, 11 points for Stony Creek. Lapeer, 57-43 over Oxford. Bryce Essman had 18 for the Wildcats. Cole Bennett had 20 points. Brendan Pillar, 17 points for Lapeer. Lincoln King Academy, 64-39 over Harper Woods. That's a
that was a shocker. I didn't expect them to be 0-2.
Yep. December 18th, we had North Farmington 64-25 over Westland John Glenn. Dearborn Heights, Robichaud, Farmington.
No score
listed, but
Robichaud
takes the win. Okay. All right. Again, problem trying to find these scores. Warren Fitzgerald 45, A&T 37. Lake Orion finally finds a W. 41-34 over Bridgeport. Alden Ritt again for Lake Orion at 18. And Grove 64-19 over Ypsi. Is that Ypsilanti High School?
Yep.
Wow.
I was at Romulus.
A once proud program over there. December 19, Detroit University Prep 59, West Bloomfield 58 and a heartbreaker.
That was a good one at Macomb Community College.
And that is 4 pages of the roundup. Ow! Man, I need a nap after that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you look at the scores, I mean, obviously it's been crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, been really, really crazy, especially with everything that's been going on. You gotta give props. I mean, I think when I look at teams that are doing pretty well right now, a lot of people obviously look at South and the girls. I'm gonna go girls first. I mean, A&T start. They're 4-1 right now. The fact is, when you look at their wins, they're blowout wins, and their only loss was a blowout loss to Lake Fenton. A&T's got some pieces. I know they got Christian Banks, Jalen Austin, Cammy. I don't know what her last name is, but they've had a good start. I mean, Coach Enrique Coltrane's had a really nice start. But when you look at this team, and you gotta say, okay, the eyeball test. This team just does not wow me, and it looks like when you look at the strength of schedule component. Because everybody they beat, they blew them out.
Yeah.
And then their loss to Lake Fenton, they were blown out. So I don't know.
What are they?
What are they?
Yeah.
What are they? Now, we're going to know for sure when they play Groves. I mean, Groves is a team that really's not been, wowing me either. I mean, yes, they got a nice one against Seaholm. But for me with Groves, obviously, Caitlin Sanders has to start acting like a star player. She does. Because for Groves to be successful, your stars need to show up. And I know Coach Allison Heidi really well. But she's got a star player in Caitlin Sanders. You have Sierra Rocco, Destiny McCurdy. And the fact it got to a 3-0 start, and then they had some tough losses to Vonnie Stevenson and Lake Orion before beating Seaholm. So when you really look at it, I mean, it's now with Southfield and Groves, I know what they have.
Yeah.
And I know where their problems at. Southfield, I have absolutely no idea. Because when you look at A&T, everybody can be happy they're 4-1, but the substance, the eyeball test, where is it?
Yeah.
And then on the Grove side of things, obviously, they have an identity, but Caitlin Sanders has to start acting like a star. That's what I see with Groves, and that's what I see with A&T. They're in the same division, but they play each other on Tuesday. So that's going to be really interesting.
There you go. I mean, you're asking for some sort of sign.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they? What's their identity?
Mm-hmm.
What's real and what is fake, right?
Yes.
I mean, and you're going to know Tuesday.
We're going to know Tuesday when those two teams play one another.
That's the 21st, right?
Yep. And when you look at on the red side of things, Stony Creek obviously has been really solid. The game against Macomb Las Cruz North, everything just went wrong. They couldn't shoot. When Stony Creek cannot shoot the ball, they don't win. But when Stony Creek shoots the ball efficiently and effectively, they win games.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, like most teams.
And then you look at...
Yeah, and who do they have that, I mean, if their top players aren't clicking, what's their bench
they
like?
have La Prairie, they have... Stony Creek's a deep team. I mean, they got both La Prairies, they got Carson, you got Demajal, you got, and Scorch. I mean, they got a deep team.
So Stony Creek had, I mean, the whole team just had a bad
He's had an off night, you know what I mean? So, Stony Creek, I can give a pass, you know what I mean, in that game against Macomb Las Cruz North. I mean, I could give them a pass. Whereas with Southfield and Groves, with Southfield especially, I don't have a clue what they have.
Yeah.
I mean, what they are. Groves, I have an idea. Royal Oak, when I look at them, just find some scoring. You know what I mean? They just got to find some scoring. I mean, they got the defense. They just got to find some offense.
Yeah.
Clarkson's starting to get together a little bit, but here's my take on Clarkson. Maddie Sikorsky is doing everything she can. You look at Clarkson, it's like a tale of Batman and Robin. Who's the Robin going to be? Is it Izzy Haley? Is it Hernandez? Is it...
Yeah.
You know,
who's the number two?
Who's your number two? I mean, it's supposed to be Izzy Haley. supposedly Hadley. I mean, but you don't know.
And we've seen teams like,
Mm-hmm.
can you survive with just a 1 and a 2?
I don't think you can. Not in the red.
You need that third and the supporting cast to make up that fourth.
And then you look at a team like West Bloomfield who's starting to really bounce back. I mean, the Lakers are a team that, started off slow at that upset loss to Dexter, but they've managed to start getting their act back together. And I think a lot of that's been because of the Davis sisters. Myona Hooper's been playing all right. I mean, but they really need both Hendricks sisters to come back and healthy. And I think that's going to be interesting to see what Coach Jerry McAllister has.
And if they can win without them, doesn't that set the table for
here's my problem.
Success?
Here's my problem with West Bloomfield. And I don't know if other sports writers like R. Simone or anybody in the recruiting world looks at substance. I don't know with West Bloomfield, besides the Davis sisters, the Hendricks sisters, Myona Hooper, their bench is a big-time concern. I mean, that's something that I really wish that these recruiting writers look at. Look at substance. Besides the Davis sisters, the Hendrickses, and Hooper with West Bloomfield, what happens if they struggle? What happens? Because their bench is the key for West Bloomfield. Because if their bench doesn't perform or doesn't give them the same substance as their starting five does, then this team's got problems. And you look at West Bloomfield, you're in the red, and then when you get in the postseason, you're dealing with Birmingham Marion in there. I mean, that's gonna be some challenges. They got some challenges ahead of them.
Yeah.
That Coach Jerry McAllister's team has.
And this is kind of where 3 weeks in?
Mm-hmm.
Girls' season's 3 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the bench situation for everyone across all the OAA is starting to come into play.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to get an idea who are the supporting cast members here
Mm-hmm.
for every one of these
You're
teams.
starting to get
How
especially
short
in the
is
red,
that bench?
especially in the red. And then when you look at the case of Troy, why I said that
Yeah,
about
so
why
what
I got
happened?
concerns, this team really misses Alyssa Mantuza. Because when Mantuza got hurt, with the ACL injury, I mean, their point guard situation, that's a mess right now. That is you look at, of course, looking at Troy and say, okay, you rely a lot on Kendall Zeider and Charlotte Saboka to carry you. That's dangerous because, yes, both of them had 15 points each against Troy Athens, but you got to have that stabler. You got to have, if you're Coach Julius Porter, you got to find that stabler, at the point guard spot. Because when you look at that game with Troy Athens is an indicator, a possible district preview indicator of saying, okay, you are, you miss Mantuza. They miss her so much because she provides point guard stability.
Yeah.
It gives more freedom for Saboka and Zeider, to basically do what they want to do. I mean, basically.
And who's running point now? Is it by committee?
I know they're doing it by committee over there. I mean, I know that's dangerous. But when you don't have a true point guard, you're going to have some problems. And
Yes.
I know they've been getting some key players back. I know Zoe Silver's back for them. But clearly, the Mantuza injury is absolutely killing this team right now.
Yeah, your point, man. I mean, that's what they say, your quarterback on the court, right?
Mm-hmm. And Mantuza's that quarterback on the court.
And
no offense to Zeider and Saboka. I mean, but Mantuza's your quarterback. And when she's not playing, that's problems.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's tough. When you have a solid point guard, that is your leader. That is the one that is directing traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And to lose that, it's so difficult to find that replacement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially teams like Troy that have established this rotation, and you've been planning all off season and playing and getting things situated where we're in rhythm, we're ready to go, and then bang,
And the fact that you're in the red, that makes it really difficult.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room for error in the red.
No, there's not. And obviously, when you look at the situation there, I mean, Troy, I think, can survive with Zider and Saboka, you know what I mean? But with them right now. But when it comes to later in the postseason, that's where you're going to judge Troy.
Yeah.
Because Troy, when they get to the first game, has been one and done the last 3 years. And that can't happen for a proud program like that. And you look at that program, for them to be judged, it's the postseason. It's not the regular season, it's the postseason.
Yeah.
And that's where you judge the Colts. I mean...
Do you think they're okay? I mean...
Right now?
You raise the red flag, but...
Right now with Troy?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they are, because they got to find that stabilizer at the point guard spot, because...
And what's the makeup of their bench?
And that's the big question. I mean, I mean,
you can't just pull a point guard out of thin air.
No. I mean, I know they got other players like Charlotte Gillen who's been, can contribute, but they need that leader at the point guard spot, and I think that's the biggest problem that Julius Porter has right now. That's why I'm pressing the red flag on Troy right now. I mean, now, I think when I look at the red, Troy, I think, when I look at Troy, I mean, they can survive with Zider and Saboka, but they need somebody at that point guard spot to solidify it. They need that.
Yeah.
And when I look at, we talked about the other teams. I mean, Southfield, I want to know what Southfield shows up.
Yeah.
Groves, Caitlin Sanderson start acting like a star. Clarkson, they're starting to roll a little bit. They need a Robin, though, for Sikorsky. West Bloomfield, they're starting to get it together a little bit. Roy Oak's got to find an offense,
Mm-hmm.
And Stony Creek is Stony Creek. So,
yes.
And then the white division, in the white. When I look at the white, North Farmington's start is obviously but that loss to Kettering is still a questionable mark for me. Question mark. Now, the Raiders rely on two players, Stella Leffler and Penelope Query. You look at those two players, they've been playing outstanding basketball.
Yes, they have.
But what happens, the problem that I have with Coach Jeff Simpson's team is you got to develop interior play. You can rely on those two players, but if you can get a third option in the interior, you're set. You're set. That's the question I have for Coach Jeff Simpson. He needs to find that interior presence. He can find that. I think North's a player.
Yeah. Again,
mm-hmm.
Those two positions, the 5 and the 1.
No, the point guard and the point guard. No,
but I'm saying with your
leverable guards.
I know, but if you're talking about, like, say, Troy and their point guard,
mm-hmm.
it's almost as difficult to find that post player.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Zider can play more of that post as well. I mean,
so are you saying
you got Val Otis, you got Zider, and then you got Saboka's more of like a 3 guard.
Okay, so are you saying move or have a rotating 5? Or find that singular person that can play the 5?
Troy's problem's not in the interior. Troy's problem's at the guards.
No, you were talking about Farmington.
Yeah, North Farmington.
They need a post.
They need a post, yes.
But
Haley Rogers supposed to have a post.
What I'm saying is that it's almost as difficult to find a post player, a solid post, as a solid point guard.
Yes.
Especially if it's a dedicated post and not like a post by committee.
Correct. So that's something you got to
It's so unique to find that.
It is really unique.
That center that is park them down low, drop them the ball, lay it in, right? I mean, that is hard to find.
It's hard to find, yes. And then when you look at a team that's young like Oxford is this year, Oxford's really young. You look at, obviously, Miranda Winepko, Peyton Richter, then they got a bunch of young ones, Allison Hofstetter, Nevada Wood, Anna Saab. I mean, Oxford's had a nice start, you know what I mean? Despite them being 2 games in, I mean, taking on a Lapeer team that they had no problems with, and then they lost a tough one to Clarkston. But I really like what Oxford has. I really like what Coach
Well, they were competitive with Clarkston.
Very competitive with them,
Right.
And then you look at Lake Orion, obviously, when you look at the Dragons, I mean, they're starting to click on all cylinders. I mean, they've beaten 3 red opponents. That's insane. Obviously, when you look at Lake Orion, you got Maddie Ebert, Kylie Heck, Taylor Dinda, Livia Pabloski, I mean, Chloe Wiegers. I mean, they're playing at a high level right now. When you look at Lake Orion, and they got a deep bench too.
Yeah.
So when you look at the white division, and I'm not counting Athens out, or because Athens coming off a winning 3 straight after an 0-3 start. Adams, young group. I mean, like starting to figure things out on the defensive side of the ball. Bloomfield Hills, I mean, they got some questions. But when I look at the white division right now, I think Lake Orion right now is the cream of the crop right now. Then it's Oxford, then North Farmington, and then Rochester's been a real dangerous team.
Yeah.
Despite their 2-2 record, they got a young nucleus. I really like the development of Alice Mack on that team in the post. I mean, they got a young nucleus there. I like what Coach Bill Thurston's done over there. I mean, I think the white can be more deeper when it comes to talent, when it comes to competition, than the red. And that says a lot right there.
Wow.
Because I think there's a quality of teams in that white division is really good this year. When you look at Lake Orion, Oxford, North Farmington, Rochester, Troy, Athens, Rochester, Adams. I mean, Bloomfield Hills is right there.
Mm-hmm.
I really like what Kristen Massey's done with that team. But that loss to Troy just kind of just mind boggles me a little bit. And then when you look at the blue division, Seaholm, when you look at Seaholm, 2-0, haven't played a game in 2 weeks, in 12 days, and then they lose to Groves like that at Little Caesars Arena. Harper Woods, Ferndale University are out the 2-0 starts, but they really haven't played anybody. Really that impressive. Farmington's been tested. Seaholm's been tested. Avondale is like a 0-4 mess. Pontiac's 0-1. And
I didn't read them on that list.
Pontiac?
Yeah.
Pontiac hasn't played. They're going to be playing 2 this week.
Okay.
Next week.
Because we're curious about to see how they bounce back.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Coach Raul Marshall's team bounces back.
Because that's another one that did not play last year, didn't feel it.
Yeah, it was Pontiac.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm curious to see how they do because they got 2 against Detroit Denby on the 28th, and then they play Westfield Prep's B team in the Motor City Roundball. So that'll be really interesting to see what happens there with them. Ferndale, young team. Trying to build a program there. So when you look at Ferndale, it's going to be tough for Coach Alcantara. It's going to be really tough for his team to build. I think the blue, when you look at it right now, I can't judge Harper Woods or Ferndale University right now because the 2 teams they beat were blowouts. They were complete bloodbaths.
Yeah.
And you look at obviously Seaholm and Farmington, they played a tougher schedule. They have, Seaholm beat a red team in Royal Oak. And I also forgot to mention the white Berkeley as well. I forgot to mention Berkeley. I apologize to Bears Nation there. Ashley Loon, is a star in the making over there.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, getting Jillian Gomez back is going to help them out. But depth's a big concern for Berkeley. So, forgot to put Berkeley in that conversation, the white. But in the blue, obviously, Seaholm Farmington have passed the eyeball test, in my opinion. Harper Woods and Ferndale University have, they're 2-0, but I haven't seen the eyeball test yet. Oak Park's been struggling to score.
Yeah, you're being nice about it, Sam.
I'm being really nice about it.
Yeah.
Ferndale.
I thought they might turn it around this last week, but it did not.
No, it did not. Ferndale, I've seen them play. It's gonna take a while for them to come back in the flow of things. Pontiac, coming off a tough loss. Early, but they haven't played in a couple weeks. So curious to see how they do coming up in the round ball.
So what's this week looking like? We have the holiday, right?
Well, the round balls are next week.
Okay, so we have the holiday break coming up. So this week,
It's
regular
league
season
play.
games.
Regular season games, league games.
Okay, and they're going to play probably through Thursday, I'm
They're
assuming?
going to play just Tuesday, and that's it.
Because school's out.
The school's out Tuesday up for Christmas holiday.
All right.
The game I'm curious to see is going to be in the red. You got Groves taking on A&T. Is A&T for real? Can Caitlin Sanders become that star player? That's what I'm watching for there in that one. Stony Creek and Troy is an interesting game. at Troy. I mean, those two teams have had battles. But I'm curious to see how Troy handles life without Alyssa Mantuza. And then you look at, obviously, West Bloomfield, Royal Oak, we know where that's going. Lake Orion Adams is really interesting this week. Adams has a new coach in Joe Malberg, taking on a veteran-heavy team.
And that's where?
That's at Lake Orion.
Okay. Should be covered.
Yep.
They'll be on the air.
Oxford and Bloomfield Hills, that'll be very interesting there. Berkeley and Troy Athens, that's what's interesting because Athens has been red hot. Berkeley's been playing good, solid, despite the record. Jillian Siak versus Ashley Loon, that matchup I'm looking forward to keeping a real close eye on. That's a really interesting matchup there. And then Rochester North Farmington, that was another one I'm keeping an eye on. That's going to be an interesting game because you look at that matchup of the interior, it's strength versus strength. North strengths at the guards, Rochester in the post. I mean, we'll see what happens there in that one. And then you have Harper Woods.
I'll give the edge to the guards.
And then you have Harper Woods and Farmington. That'll be very interesting there. Seaholm and Avondale. Oak Park and Ferndale University. And then of course you have Pontiac playing Ferndale. So those are your matchups this week in league. And some really interesting games on the docket.
Yeah,
on the girls'
and
side.
like we say every week, the scope of the standings and the way the divisions are panning out, it's so fun to watch how they change from week to week because you see teams develop. Some out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
You see players, you go, who is this? And they just catch your eye, or the bench play.
I think
for a
A&T
team
is
just takes off.
A&T, I just need to see it there for real in that.
But we also see teams fade.
Right.
Like you said.
If A&T loses to Groves, then that describes everything I've said about it.
Yeah. This is an interesting, and the time between over Christmas break is a key development time too. Not everybody's playing.
They're in the break,
postseason or round ball classics and the tournaments like that. They're just practicing,
right?
And they're digging in,
right?
And this development time is key, especially in those deficient areas you're talking about. Let's say someone needs a post player, someone needs a point guard desperately. All these teams need something.
Yep.
And that's that development time.
Yep.
To say who's going to step up, and can they find those?
It? That's the key. Can they find?
Can they find those?
And
needs?
that's not even talking the boys' side yet. You know. Ferndale's starting to roll. A little bit. You got Clarkson. North Farmington. That Clarkson-North Farmington game is going to be real interesting on Wednesday night. That'll be really interesting.
Where's it played?
At Clarkson.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting. North's undefeated right now. Clarkson's got that one loss at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. That's going to be really interesting there. West Bloomfield, I really like how they've been playing despite the 1-2 start. Lost both their games by combined 11 points. That's really tough to swallow, but I like what Coach Arnett Jordan's done over there. Farmington's struggling. Adams is starting to roll.
Dragons.
Oak Park has been starting to roll.
Lake Orion.
And then we'll go to the white, obviously,
What
Lake Orion. They found something on Saturday at Corona against Bridgeport. They found something. The problem I have with Lake Orion is secondary scoring. They need to find who is going to be the Robin to Alden Ritt. That's the question that Coach Joe Schroeder has.
Or who's the combination?
Who's the combination? You would think it would be Malachi Granberry. Or you think it would be or you think it could be DJ Morrow. Those are the two that really have to really step up. Now there was some promising signs against Bridgeport, and we know Bridgeport's been a proud program. Last year Bridgeport went to the Final Four in Division II last year.
Really?
And they knocked off a really good Bridgeport program. Now Bridgeport's having a struggling year this year, but Lake Orion, hopefully that Bridgeport game could turn the season around. Because I know they got Notre Dame Prep coming up, and that's a really interesting game over there in Pontiac.
Yeah.
And so I think the Dragons, if they can finish up,
they got a lot of work to do over this break.
Yes, they do. That's something to keep a real close eye on. Bloomfield Hills, you know what I mean? When you look at them, I mean, like, they've been playing pretty well, but throwing a little bit of kinks in the armor a little bit against Traverse City West, especially because they go that the yearly annual trip to Traverse City. You know, they get to go up there. You know what I mean? And Troy's been very suspect. Knocked off a good Macomb Dakota program, but lost A&T. And then you look at Groves. We know they're a pure Jekyll and Hyde. Knocked off Redford Thurston pretty convincingly, and then they had a really bad loss, so they're clear Jekyll and Hyde. So the White's really interesting when you look at those 5 teams though in there. And Stony Creek, you know, I mean, you know, they're coming off a tough loss to Rochester. I mean, but I think Rochester though in the blue though is better than people think. Oxford's another one to watch. Berkeley, Berkeley's been playing outstanding basketball. I mean, Troy Athens, you know, had a real split this week. I mean, like knocked out Lake Orion on the road and then lost to Warren Michigan Collegiate, who's pretty good this year. Seaholm's been up and down. And then when you look at and then A&T, you know, I thought A&T they had it beat Troy, but then they lost to Adams and then they lost to Warren Fitzgerald. I mean, like, so when you look at A&T, you know, they're an up and down team.
Yeah, what are they?
What are they?
Right.
That's the big question there. And then the gold side of things, everybody thought Harper Woods would be the team to do it, but they're 0-2. Royal Oak's been struggling.
Welcome to the OAA, right?
Yeah. Harper Woods has been struggling. Pontiac hasn't played a game yet. And then you look at, obviously, Avondale's been up and down. I mean, like, just a lot of things, you know, to sort out, you know what I mean, when you look at the gold.
And they're 2 weeks in, right? I mean,
they're 2 weeks in.
They're a week behind the girls, and we're getting a better handle on the girls' side of things than the guys, I think.
Yeah, the boys, you know, just wait till after Christmas when you preview the holiday tournaments. I will have that on my blog at Saginaw Bay 4650 at blogspot.com. I'll cover all those games, recap all those games on there, obviously. But the thing we got to look at, when you look at the boys' side of things, Ferndale obviously best team, but Clarkson's there, North Farmington's there. Oak Park's been playing like battle on the edges lately, surviving games. Adams is there, and then the White, you got Bloomfield Hills. I still think when I look at the second place in the White right now, I still think Lake Orion is probably the second place team in the White, despite their inability or secondary scoring issues. I still think Lake Orion's the second best team in this division. I know Troy has a good case to say. Groves, I can't trust them, and then I can't trust them. You know, in the Stony Creek, you know, they've been struggling. Blue, Rochester, followed by Berkeley, Oxford, Troy, Athens, A&T, and then Seaholm, and then the gold. I think it's Harper Woods. I think
you still think it's Harper Woods?
I still think it's Harper Woods, but Pontiac could be a player. Avondale.
Well, Pontiac is a complete question mark.
Yes, a complete question mark because they haven't played a game yet.
And they didn't play last year.
No. Oh, no. Pontiac's boys played last year.
The girls didn't. That's right.
So
my mistake.
That is going to be.
But still, that's a huge question mark.
Yeah, they're a huge question mark. And then Royal Oak, Avondale, Ferndale University. I think Ferndale University is better than people think. I mean, I like what Sammy Hines has done over there. Been really competitive. So I really like what Ferndale University has been doing over there. So kudos to them.
Like we said, second week, it's early. And this third week will be a shortened week.
Yep, for some.
Yep, and then the holiday season kicks in, and then
we talk about, obviously, Christmas tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean, coming up. We had the Motor City Round Ball, several teams there.
Your thoughts on having these back, Sammy? I mean, we missed them a year ago.
For a reason, yes.
And now they're back. Do you think, I mean, if anybody's paying attention to anything out there right now, we got a lot of, obviously you and I, you always have your mask on in the pod. I didn't have mine on last week. This week I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
More so as awareness to say, hey.
Yeah.
You know, there's stuff going on out there.
There is.
And we're hoping everybody is safe and doing the right things. And because we don't want anything to.
No.
This has been fun.
This has been fun. I
Fall
mean,
sports have
obviously
been
all
great.
sports, yeah.
Coming into the winter season, it's been great.
I noticed, there's been a lot of people, healthy right now. And you're looking at teams that are going on 2-week breaks. I mean, like, it's
just staying with their team, working out, staying
Some
away from large
scrimmage.
Yeah,
Some will scrimmage.
staying away from large crowds.
Right, and I think
it's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing for those, to work on their games, to develop their games. Now for those who are playing like in tournaments, in classics like the North Farmington Holiday Extravaganza, St. Clair County Community College, Ferndale, Ferndale and Westfield Prep. I hope they have precautions there, because
we're hoping
because there's going to be a lot of people there. There's a lot of top-notch games. I get it, but I hope they have like a free live stream service over there, to watch those games. I think that would be.
Well, crowds are used to going. They're not going to stay home.
Right, they're not going to stay home. But I just hope they have precautions for those games. Obviously, the schools and the organizers of the classics. You know what I mean? I hope they have.
Yeah.
I hope they do, because there's a lot of good games on the docket. But when you look at,
and you don't want to sacrifice,
yes,
late in the season for this early season stuff.
You don't want that. So be careful.
Yes.
Be careful. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Be healthy.
Be healthy. There's a lot of good games on the docket. And we'll get to that. We'll talk about that. It'll be on my blog at Saginaw Bay 4650 at blogspot.com. Talk about that. And then we got wrestling talk a little bit.
Yes.
Oxford. Oxford Wrestling won the Oakland County meet at Clarkston.
What a way to
kick off the year. To come
Yeah.
out, and especially what Dave went through to win that, to be the best in Oakland County.
I can only imagine
says a lot.
the emotion, on that podium.
It
taking
says a
that
lot.
trophy. It does.
It says a lot, but it's a huge, to honor Tate Meir, who was a wrestler, by the way. People look at him as a football player, but he was a wrestler.
Yes.
For them to win that, for Oxford to win the county in his memory, they deserve it. Oxford deserved it,
Yeah. It's amazing. It's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't out of the blue.
No, Oxford's a wrestling powerhouse, though.
Huge wrestling
Oxford's a wrestling
tradition
powerhouse.
up in Oxford. Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so we're not surprised at all that Oxford went in there and won this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But in light of everything, for the last 3 weeks
months,
now,
yeah.
it's been crazy to have some sort of distraction like that for those kids, and to come in and be able to perform and at least put that, that side of things away for a little bit and come out and perform the way they did. That's amazing. That is fantastic.
It is, and I think that's something you got to really look at.
And we're at 48, by the way.
Yep.
That was great.
Recapping 2021. Obviously,
It was an odd one, Sam.
It was a very odd one, because you think about this in January when we came back here, we were talking football. We were talking football.
I know.
We had a state champion in West Bloomfield who won it all. I remember the game with Belleville really well when they won that game. That was incredible.
Yes.
For them to win that game like that, And then we had basketball starting up. We had 6 weeks of only 6 weeks of the season. That's nuts.
That was a lot of games.
A lot of games.
It was crazy.
And we still had COVID-19 protocol.
Yeah.
I ended up getting the virus in March. And that was not a fun experience at all.
Yeah.
But we had a state basketball champion crowned. But in the OAA, Obviously, West Bloomfield winning the state title was huge. Yep. And then some sort of normalcy in the spring, when everything.
And having, the
sports.
The spring sports hit. You had baseball, softball, track and field was great to get back out again on the, and the best thing about it was, missing it in 2020.
That was rough.
Having that whole spring season just wiped out.
Yep.
The other seasons didn't run into that.
No.
They didn't miss it.
Well, basketball missed their postseason because of it.
Postseason, but they still had games.
They still had games, yes.
But, the spring season sports from 2020, when this whole thing got underway, I mean, it was wiped out. It was just completely gone. And to have it all again back there, we talked about it. Like the spring sports, like you and I are track and field nuts. Nuts. We're junkies.
Not having a season.
And not having a season. But coming back with that season, you're going, this is almost 2 years.
I know.
It was 2 years. And you go, who are all these new faces? It's like, it was like a Twilight Zone. Everybody is so bizarre because you're so used to seeing classes come and go, classes build and grow, and you have, especially in basketball, you get the mixture of like sophomore, junior, seniors, and in track and field for us at least, boom, we had a whole host
and
of
to have
kids.
that season back, you know what I mean? I really enjoyed running the regional this year.
That was
shot area.
Fantastic.
I mean, I really enjoyed that regional, running it, you know what I mean? It was really, really fun one at Lake Orion. I mean, really enjoyed it.
It was, and to be able to televise those and to get out there and see those kids run, it was just fantastic. And like we talk about the mental aspect, all those, some kids track and field or softball and baseball, that's their sport.
That's their sport.
That's it.
Yeah.
And to have them out there doing it, it was such a relief. And, we're so happy for those kids to get out to be able to do it. And then still continue on into the fall, right?
Yeah. And then we've had coaching changes.
Oh, boy.
I mean, we've had a
lot of weirdness.
Yeah, weirdness, especially, I mean, we've had a lot of weirdness, a lot of craziness. And then fall starts with football, of course. Adams getting to the Division I state finals. I mean, how they got there,
An amazing season.
Give credit Coach Tony Petrino and his team there. And then, of course, we had the Oxford tragedy, obviously, which was, it's still stunning.
And it will be.
And it will be for years
Absolutely.
to come.
And just a reminder, too, like we said, this is an ongoing thing. It
still is.
The pain and the need, it's still happening. And the needs of these families and these kids and all this stuff in the community is still ongoing. If you'd like to help out Oxford Strong Community, you type that into Google search, and it'll come up with this fantastic website with all the resources and ways you can help. It's a how-to of how you can help Oxford, and that's official. Oxford Strong Community. So you type that into Google, and you can go right there. And so ONTV signed up to offer our studio space for therapy sessions, for Zoom calls, and group meetings and all that kind of stuff. You can do that too. If you want to offer your assistance to do some cooking for somebody, or we're trying to get these students together outside of school to kind of get some sort of fun times, something, a distraction, game nights, all that kind of stuff together. Can you host that sort of thing? Can you bring some pop for them? Get a couple cookies and munchies. Can you help out any way you can? So it's Oxford Strong Community. You type that into Google, and you'll get that website pop right up. So, yeah, it's still ongoing, Sam.
It is. I mean, and here, especially 3 of the 4 were
athletes.
We're athletes. That's
multi-season, multi-sport.
Multi-sport athletes.
Yeah.
That makes me sick to my stomach. It does.
And for those teams to just like the wrestling squad, right?
With wrestling.
To come out.
Right.
And to perform the way they did. These kids they're so strong. They really are.
Yeah.
And to come out and perform the way they did, to take that crown is amazing. And I'm looking forward to, really cheering on them Wildcats during the basketball season and any season, any result. I'm ready to cheer them on.
I think, with athletics back for them at Oxford, it's huge.
Huge,
because the mental aspect, the emotional aspect of it.
Something else to deal with.
Yep, something else to deal with.
On the positive side, mingling with your brothers and sisters, your friends, your
athletic family. That's the thing you got to look at. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously with the girls basketball program, honoring them, Anna St. Juliana, the boys basketball team. You look at Oxford. Do you see the big crowds there?
Yeah.
There were a lot of people at Romeo when they played Romeo there. The Clarkson game, there was over almost 2,000 people there.
Wow.
At Clarkson Junior High School. It wasn't at Clarkson High School because the wrestling meet was there. It was at Clarkson Junior High School just to see them.
And you're going to see that all season.
I mean, Oxford's going to be playing a lot of games on the road this year. I mean, obviously because of the tragedy. I mean, like with the school still not open yet, but it'll be very interesting because I know several games for Oxford have gotten rescheduled. I know the Lake Orion game for them is at Lake Orion now, and then the Troy game's at Troy now. I mean, like.
Yeah, we just got notices saying that a lot of changes just came down. So, well, if it's at Lake Orion, we're going to cover the thing. It's going to be ready to watch. If you're going to look back on 21, Sam, what's your one big sports? Wow. Did you have one?
You know, Adams getting to the state final was a big wow for me. But another one for me was the whole Grove saga. You know what I mean? That was another one. But
with their head coach.
With their head coaching situation.
That was just weird.
That was weird.
And out of the blue, it felt like.
Yeah, it was out of the blue, it felt like.
All of a sudden, bam.
That was, and all of a sudden it's like, bam. I mean, you know, that was one I looked at, but obviously just coming back, the return to play movement, that was one of them that really wowed me as well. But for my sports moment was the Adams getting a state final moment for football. What about yours?
I think Adams too. I want to say it was that between Oxford football, their resurgence.
Yeah,
and the way they closed.
Resurgent,
You know, I mean, way they closed out that regular season.
Despite playing a murder's row of a schedule. Good
The way Oxford football ran through to earn their spot into the playoffs.
They beat some teams. They beat Chippewa Valley. They knocked off Lake Orion, Southfield, Stony Creek.
Yeah, man, it was crazy, and they
Rochester,
they got
Valley.
better and better and better, and then they ran into Adams.
They ran into Adams that veer.
And so I think if I have my 1 and 1A, one is Oxford's run to the postseason, because you're kind of like, I didn't see that coming. We were like, oh, they're better, obviously, they're good, and then whoa, what did they do? They had another gear. And then
that experience really helped them. When you look at players like Brady Carpenter, Tate Beer.
So my 1A was Adams. That undefeated regular season, rolling through the post, making to the finals. That was phenomenal. That was great.
A lot to look forward to heading into 2022.
Yeah, 2022. I can't believe it, Sam. So 2022. That is 10 years of this facility being open.
Really?
In May.
10
years, Sammy.
Been here 10 years.
Opened in 2012.
Been here 10
So
years.
I know. Well, you've been here longer.
Longer.
You're looking at 11 and a half, or if not 12. I think this is my 13th.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 2022. The great thing is we have a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And
especially
to look
around
forward
the OAA.
to. Yep. And to look forward to athletic wise. So.
Yep.
Yeah, we hope all of you guys are safe out there. COVID is still a thing.
Still with us.
These cloth things aren't as bad as you think.
Yeah.
You know, outside, take them off. You're inside, wear them.
Wear them.
And just have a safe
stay
holiday.
Vigilant.
Yes, vigilant. Have a safe holiday season.
Yep.
And Sam, you too, man.
You too, Ian.
It was a fun year. It was a weird year, but I'm glad you and I at least had a chance to talk about it.
Yeah. Can't wait.
There's almost like a therapy session for you and I to make it through.
It is. We'll see what happens going forward. I mean, like 2022 is supposed to be a great year. We'll see what happens going forward.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off here. If you want to keep an eye on the classics and the classics, they're on my blog at SagonBay4650 at blogspot.com. They'll be updated frequently, so we'll see what happens going forward. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, everybody. Take care, God bless, and stay safe, and see you all next year, everybody.
Thanks, Sam. OAA Now is produced by Sammy Taormina. The views on this show are his and mine alone. Keep vigilant, everybody. Be safe out there. Have a nice holiday season. Merry Christmas and a Merry New Year. Be safe out there. We want to have you back for 2022 and beyond, listening to this fabulous podcast that Sammy puts together every week for your listening enjoyment. That's it for this edition of 2021's OAA Now. We'll see you next year.